Disputing a fabricated interview? Ticketmaster hacked? And is email a social network? This is Mac Voices. Mac Voices is supported by MacVoices Magazine, our free magazine on Flipboard and on the web. Want to cut through all the noise and find out what you can do with your Apple gear? MacVoices Magazine focuses on just that, aggregating the best how-to articles and information. Get it by searching for Mac Voices in the Flipboard app or visiting macvoices.com/magazine. This was just interesting. Apparently, and I didn't pay that much attention to it until this came out, but Sony had to apologize for a fabricated interview with the Last of Us studio head, where it must have published they published an interview, and apparently there were just things that were just flat out never said. And someone called him on it, and then the individual who the comments were attributed to called them out on it and said, "Well, that really is not what I even said."
There was some
would
indication.
That be called a lie?
That's awfully harsh, isn't it?
There was some indication that the person who scripted the article used AI in the process, and it just fabricated a bunch of stuff that this guy didn't say. And really, it's another opportunity to show that AI is not accurate. So stop the presses. We didn't know that. But more, it shows how people are kind of negligent with their work.
Mm-hmm. If you're going to use an AI tool to take a transcript and pull quotes for an article or write an article based on the transcript, how would they do it? You still need people to go and make the decisions about what works and what doesn't, and to verify the information to make sure it's correct.
It just, some of this stuff fascinates me, that it gets through. I mean, does nobody proofread anything anymore? Do they just type it into ChatGPT or whatever? And yeah, I know Jeff's acting like proofreading. What a quaint idea.
Grammar.
Bless your heart, Chuck.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll go get my Geritol now. It just, I don't know. This is completely off topic. I have no link, but did you guys see the gentleman who appeared via Zoom video in front of a judge to appeal his driver's license suspension? And yes. He appeared on Zoom in front of the judge while driving to his doctor's office.
On a suspended license. That's why he was in court. Yeah.
Did you get the rest of the story? Because the first part of it, I mean, it's wonderful. Schadenfreude. Dude is driving on a suspended license and is doing a Zoom hearing, and he's driving his car. The rest of it is his license had been suspended years prior for back child support money, which to me is an absolutely insane reason to suspend a driver's license. Not least of which because if you don't have your driver's license, how are you going to get to work to be able to pay off the child support? But whatever. And his license, he thought, was reinstated because the whole process that had happened. And turns out the court never actually sent the information to verify that they had, in fact, allowed his license to be reinstated. And he was driving his wife to the hospital because she needed to get to see the doctor immediately. But still, yeah, driving on a suspended license.
I'm going to try to find a link and throw it in the show notes because the judge. Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
thank you,
David just did it. Yeah.
Good, thank you. The judge's face is priceless. I mean, he can't believe what's happening in front of him. And the guy even asks him to just hold on a second. He's pulling into his doctor's office and needs to park. And he's saying this to the judge. It's like, really? Are you serious? Putting that in the show notes so everyone.
Yeah,
can
turn yourself
it.
to the jail by 6:00 tonight. Yeah.
Yeah, and the guy. Did you see his reaction web? Did the one I watched let it roll, and he just tilted his back. It's like, oh no. It's like, I'm sorry, but somebody with this level of intelligence should not be out running around loose.
No, and the people at the court, they should have to face some serious consequences too, since they were supposed to have reinstated his driver's license or sent in the paperwork saying it was reinstated and just never got around to doing it.
Brian just gave us a link to that article about self-checkouts, so I'm throwing that in the YouTube chat room for all of you who are interested. Next to last thing that I have on the agenda for tonight is from 9 to 5 Mac, something we talked a little bit about last week from a different angle. We talked about Ticketmaster and some of the new regulations that are being put in place. Well, now we find out that they had a hack of 560 million personal data items. And they're trying to identify where that hack happened. Apparently, there was some thinking that it came from a company called Snowflake, which is a cloud storage firm. Snowflake has denied it. But the thing that I found interesting about this is I'm a Ticketmaster customer. I have bought an embarrassing number of tickets from Ticketmaster. I haven't seen a notice of a hack.
Nope.
Has anybody?
You haven't said a word.
Nope.
I'm very disappointed.
So, I'm starting to feel like I'm tracking these things unintentionally. That, yeah, you know what? I'm a customer of theirs, and I never saw anything. So how are these notifications being sent? Are they? Because I've started actually checking my spam for this.
Who knows?
Did they say in the article that notifications have been sent?
I don't believe so, Marty, at least in this particular article. This is more like, right now it seems to be more about who's pointing fingers at whom than trying to get the word out to people.
Yeah.
So
I'd like to know more about what happened in this case. So Snowflake, it's a company I'm familiar with. It's one of the companies that's in that whole space that I do a lot of writing about for companies, and their whole thing is that you have online storage with security and a bunch of other things rolled in. So it's not just like a giant OneDrive or iCloud drive. There's a lot more to it. But there's also a report that's been going around saying that that data was being just scraped wholesale out of Snowflake servers through a security flaw where people could sign up for a free test account, and while you have your trial account going, then there was something they could do, and they were just getting tons of data. And Ticketmaster is a Snowflake customer, so that's the part of the link up we can confirm. But yeah, Snowflake is saying no. All of these incidents, that's on the customers. So I'm kind of at a loss there, because I'm not seeing enough information to be able to figure out, do we need to be giving Snowflake a hard time, or just Ticketmaster in this case? Maybe both.
To Marty's point, the article from 9 to 5 says that the company's filing includes the quote, as appropriate, we are also notifying regulatory authorities and users with respect to unauthorized access to personal information. Now, and then 9 to 5 adds companies are legally required to report data breaches to the SEC within 4 days. Doesn't say anything about when they have to let us know. So if you have the Ticketmaster account, Brian, you said you immediately changed your password.
Yeah, definitely. It's like I saw the story come out, just like even if I don't see anything directly from Ticketmaster or anything like that, it's just wise, just change the password.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and maybe that's what we all need to start doing is if, just as a matter of course, if you see an article about a service that you're using that had any kind of breach, change your password.
Change your password.
Yeah.
Turn on two-factor authentication if it isn't already.
Amen. Yeah. Yeah. Which is an interesting question, Jeff. Does anybody here have a favorite authenticator app, a preferred authenticator app?
I'm using Authy.
I use Authy as well. And 1Password.
Authy and Microsoft Authenticator. I have to use that for work. So,
okay, Marty.
Microsoft Authenticator. That's mostly comes from work, having to use it at work, and then finding that as a tool that I can use for other authentications. I also have 1Password, so I have a lot of duplicity in that.
Mm-hmm.
Password.
Brian?
I use also Microsoft connected with some work items, but I think even Apple themselves has some baked in like two-factor authentication now baked into its passwords.
Yeah.
In Keychain?
Yeah, in Keychain, yeah.
Yeah. Whatever pops up is the one that I respond to. But it is showing up in Apple.
It's funny. Keychain's just so part of my workflow. I don't even think about it because I use it too, and I end up putting not everything, but some passwords in both 1Password and in Keychain all at the same time. And like you said, whatever one comes up first is one that I click on.
Yeah, the chat room is throwing a bunch of things. 1Password. Wayne brings up Yubico. Barry brought up Google Authenticator. Yep. And let's see, Authy, Microsoft, and Keychain. Yeah, so a number of different things. It's nice that we have some of these options. And I think I shared this on the show last week or week before. But Safari is the one that popped up a password that apparently had been compromised with a healthcare provider for me. I still haven't received any notification, but it said, it's appeared on the dark web. So I immediately changed it. And I guess within an hour, I was no longer receiving that from Safari. So you're right, Brian, that there are some things built in there that are good.
Mm-hmm.
Last thing for the evening is one I held from last week because I just think it's an interesting concept, and I want to see how you reacted to it. And for those who may not subscribe to the newsletter, we do now have a MacVoices Discord for our Patreon subscribers. So if you'd like to be part of that and join in those conversations, patreon.com/MacVoices at any level will get you into the Discord. That was not a commercial that had in relation to this next article, but this is from Lifehacker again. They are questioning now, is email the best social network at this point? Because you don't have all of the information tracking. You don't have people stealing your information. I found the article interesting and compelling, and I wanted to see what you thought, because they were pointing out, I'm just taking the headings here, but messaging is a fragmented mess. Email newsletters are the new blogs. How do you guys feel about this? I know we've had various conversations on social media.
Yeah, we talked about this on In Touch with iOS last week, and it was very compelling. Even with thinking of a blog being a social media, and iMessage, yeah, it can be a mess, but is email? Can email be a social network? I mean, I never thought it could be, because we always thought social networks kind of replaced what email had been. But I mean, we all live in email. I think all of us here on this panel, and it's hard not to think that you're constantly reading through emails. I mean, I subscribe to many newsletters, including MacVoices, as well as many of and you get a lot of that information from there beyond social media networks. But it's just kind of a multitude of places where you can find information. But it's compelling. I mean, I think it's something that with email you could potentially just live in email and get those emails all the time. But it's also a pain to have to sort through them and look through them all day long, because your mailbox fills up pretty quick. So there's pros and cons to it.
I think a lot of it depends on how you want to communicate. So, do you want to have an easy way for a lot of people, many of whom you do not know, to be able to interact with you? That's not email. Do you want to have a way to interact with your user base, your fans, your customers? I think social media ultimately is bad for that, because you don't have control over who those people are. And by that, I mean, you want to have control over the names and email addresses, the contact points, so that no matter what happens to any service that's out there, you don't lose your captive audience. Email, subscription blogs, things like that are better for that, because you get to retain control over your audience database.
Jeff, it's one of the reasons that I've always, this is dangerous, but I'm going to say it anyway. It's one of the reasons I've always enjoyed X and liked X/Twitter, because it was never a reciprocal thing. I could follow someone, they didn't have to follow me back. They could follow me, I didn't have to follow them back.
Mm-hmm.
It just, it allowed me to craft a feed that was useful to me for the things that I really wanted, and then maybe create a separate list for, some of the things that were sort of a little bit farther out there as far as information for me, as opposed to the Facebook model where you and I have to be friends. You can't be my friend without me being your friend.
Mm-hmm.
And so I always liked the way Twitter had it set up. Email, this seems to feel a little bit like that. It's just you don't have the immediacy of some of the interaction, because I can put out to the world what I want to put out, but at some point you have to find me or decide that what I'm saying is worth hearing.
Yeah, your discoverability options when you're using just email go way down. A lot, Twitter, Instagram, Mastodon, Blue Sky, Threads, whatever. Pick the social media platform you want that allows people to follow you without you having to follow them. That is a much easier way to reach a wider audience without knowing who those people are. But if you want that captive audience, now that you've got their attention through the social media platform, you can steer them to your email if that's your ultimate goal, and use it for communication. But it's still not social media, because part of the premise of social media is people can just find you.
Yeah, I agree, Jeff. I agree. I mean, the benefit of the targeted, the newsletters, the email interactions is that it's going to be, at least in theory, higher quality, because you're going to definitely, if I subscribe to your newsletter, I want to hear what Jeff Gammett's going to say.
Right.
Now, if Jeff Gammett stops saying things that are worthwhile, then, well, maybe I'll let it go.
Unsubscribe to my emails and newsletter, whatever.
Right. Or just maybe skim them for a little while and then delete it altogether.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, again, it's just interesting. And especially this came up during the week we were opening the Discord, because we've had so many folks say, patrons and non-patrons say, well, I really am not a Slack person, but now if you had a Discord, or I would prefer a Discord, or I don't participate in Slack, period, but if you have a Discord, I might participate or will participate. So that's why this maybe rang an extra bell with me.
Yeah, I was thinking about Discord because you have a closed group of friends who are invited in. It's not the public social media, but it allows for that kind of social interaction with it, as does Slack. But Discord, I think, is a good example of that. I think this was a quaint article, I guess is the best way to describe it. Brought back fond memories. I have a brother-in-law who sends us an email and there's no way to unsubscribe from a brother-in-law's email. And he sends one every week or so called Good Morning World, stealing the title of an old television show. And I know he won't listen to this, and nobody who has contact with him will listen to this. It's a lot of drivel. It's like, went to the movie with my wife. We saw that. I mean, but that's his thing. So as much as powerful as email can be, it can also be, when you can't unsubscribe from it for all sorts of other reasons, it can be not a good social media.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Maybe a better way to have approached this article, as long as we become the editorial management team for this, would have been to approach it from, what's the right platform to deliver your message? And maybe it is email. Maybe it's a specific social media platform. Maybe it's Discord. Maybe it's Slack. Maybe it's just a blog with an RSS feed. But to say, hey, email is the new social media. Okay, well, first, email's not new. And second, there's no social aspect to this. I mean, think of it like going to a meetup, an in-person meetup event for like-minded people. Like you go to a WordPress meetup, and you can move around from little group to little group and talk to people and meet people, and there's discoverability. That's social media. That's not what email is.
Obviously, the title was a little bit of clickbait,
and here we are.
Yeah, but the point remains, and Jeff, you're right. Maybe that would have been a more accurate title, but I don't disagree with the subtitle. Facebook, X, and Instagram are full of viral crap. Email lets me actually talk to my friends. So there's a lot of truth to that.
Okay, well, just talking with your friends, that's not social media. Or maybe that's not the right place to just talk with your friends. Like, Chuck, if I just want to chit-chat with you, I'm not going to do it in the middle of a Def Leppard concert.
Yeah.
Oh, I've known people that try to do that in the middle of concerts. Yeah, but that's
and how
discussion.
Effective was it?
Yeah. Jeff, your point. I get your point, but we do this every Tuesday night. Where we get a bunch of friends together and comment. And depending on which articles, some of us comment more than others. Some of us have stronger feelings about some of the things more than others. So we could do this in email back and forth. It would be a bit cumbersome, but you could do it.
We could, but then we lose the social aspect where everyone else gets to participate by watching and commenting live, or for the people that aren't able to be here when you're hosting the show, those people can watch or listen to the recordings at their leisure. So,
Okay.
so I feel like, in a way, you've actually helped validate the whole use the right platform to deliver your message.
Brian, you want to comment on that because you were putting some things in our personal Slack.
Yeah, yeah. I was just thinking, it's all about using the right tool for the job. Sometimes in a particular place or time, email is the right tool. Sometimes it's something like more of a instant back and forth, like a Teams or a Slack or Discord. Sometimes, it's like you said, it could be somebody that you don't necessarily know all the participants individually. It could be something more on social media. I was thinking with the email is like, I don't know about you guys, but like, when you're communicating over email, when a few people are in the to or copied line, and I love using the threaded view. You can always see, the order if there's, emails that come through and the order in which they came in. And then I have colleagues that don't use threaded. And how often do we get a reply all to an earlier message before they don't see the updated things later on? And then messages get lost. It's no longer the newest, say, version of that email, with the most up-to-date information. It's just a mess.
No, you're right. Well, and Jeff, to your point, that's one of the reasons that we did want to do the Discord was we want to be able to engage with people on a little bit less time dedicated basis. That way they can dip in, dip out, make their comments at 2 a.m. if they want, and interact with us. So, yeah, the whole social media thing is just weird. It's gotten weirder over time because so many people seem to have so many agendas for it. So maybe email is not the best social network, but it sparked some discussion.
Another view.
What, Dave?
Another view.
Another view, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. We're a little over time, so I think we'll go around the room, let folks know where they can find you. And of course, you can find everybody here on the MacVoices Discord if you have access. So let's flip it around. Since Brian was last in, let's make him first out. Brian, thank you. Thank you for showing up. I know, again, that right now your schedule is extra tight. Really appreciate you being here. Where can folks find you?
I appreciate it. Thank you as always for having me. Had a great time. Best place to reach me is on Mastodon, Brian8944 at mastodon.cloud.
Great. Good to have you, Brian. Thanks.
Thank you.
The new improved Webb Bixby. Webb, great to see you. Where can folks find you?
Well, I'm getting better. Not new and improved, but I'm getting better. So let's you can find me on LinkedIn. Just Webb Bixby at LinkedIn. So
okay, good. Thanks so much, Webb. Tell your wife we said hello and we love her quilts.
Oh yeah.
Jeff Gamet, maybe one day you'll put up a quilt of your own behind you.
It could happen. Webb, we should talk at MacStock.
I was planning on it, but
well, as was I. By the way, Webb, however many hugs you want, I have them all for you.
Thank you. So, as long as there are witnesses, I'm fine.
Oh, there's hugs going from everywhere.
Yeah, there will always be witnesses.
Webb, with Jeff, it doesn't matter if there are any witnesses or not. It's just,
but it's always consensual.
It doesn't modify his behavior.
Anyhow,
I'm looking forward to it, Jeff, and
I am too. It's going to be awesome.
It is. It is.
All right.
And so, Mr. Hug, where can folks find you?
Well, when I'm not getting all excited about seeing everyone at MacStock, on social media, I'm Jay Gamet. So right now, I'm most active on Mastodon and Instagram and Threads. Then for shows, all right, here we go. Tuesdays here with you because you let me join in, so thank you, on Mac Voices Live. Then Thursdays because Dave, thank you, you let me join in on In Touch with iOS. Then on the British Tech Network, Thursdays on The Big Show, Fridays on The Mac Show. And Brian Chaffin and I do The Context Machine. And holy forking shirt balls, I have a new show, Chuck. I know,
yeah.
you have a look on your face like, oh.
Oh, no, I know. I know.
No, you know.
Yeah.
It's called Retro Rewatch. And it's a show that Patrice Brendamore and I started because she found out there are certain TV shows that apparently everyone has seen except me. And so she's rewatching the shows. I'm watching them for the first time, and then we talk about the episodes. And we're having a lot of fun. So an episode 0 is out right now, and episode 1 is dropping this week, and that's when you find out which show we're starting with.
Great. Congratulations, Jeff, on yet another show.
It's, I've got all this spare time. I need to fill it to stay out of trouble.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Hey, I'm going to interrupt the intros here for just a quick second. In the chat room we have tonight, for the first time, Ditch Comfort has joined us the whole way from Norway. Ditch has been a frequent commenter on YouTube for the Mac Voices shows, so I wanted to give them special recognition and say thank you so much for coming and for staying up very, very, very late. We really appreciate you being here live. Hope you can come back at some point. But thank you. Good to have you. Marty Gensius, thank you so much for being here. Where can folks find you?
You can find me Gensius, Jencius, at mastodon.social. And Tuesday nights here, other places when invited in terms of podcasts, and 3 of my own podcasts, Circular Firing Squad, The Tech Savvy Professor, and with Eric Bolden, who is in some undisclosed location, I think, in California right now. We do a podcast called The Vision Profiles, and having a fun time with that.
Marty, Eric just told you he was in California. We really don't know.
Yeah, I put a tracker. I put in a AirTag on him. Yeah, to make sure I knew where he was going.
Good. Well, we'll have a talk about that later. David Ginsburg, you are where we started. You're where we'll end. Thank you so much for being here. Where can folks connect with you?
Thank you. Appreciate it. And you can find me at InTouchWithIOS at InTouchWithIOS.com. Our YouTube channel is youtube.com/InTouchWithIOS. I'm here on Tuesday nights on Mac Voices Live. And I'm also on the Mac Show on the British Tech Network on Fridays, usually. And then and you can find me on Mastodon at DaveG65 at mastodon.cloud.
Great. Thank you, David. Really appreciate it. I gave Ditch a call out, but every week we have just an amazing group of people show up. And if I try to go through them, I will miss some, but I'm going to do it anyway. But Wayne, Barry, Rich, Cletus, Paul, there's Barry again, just scrolling back through the chat from earlier and it's arguing with me. Guy was in there tonight for a while. Mark Fuccio, Ben Rathig was there. He couldn't, he had some weather issues again. I feel bad because Ben keeps getting nailed every Tuesday. Eric, just a lot of great people that show up in the chat room. So thank you all for being here every week. It is really fun to watch your conversations, even though they sometimes diverge from what the main topic is. We'd love to have you join
doing that too.
Well, yeah, fair point, Jeff. Fair point. Wish you hadn't brought that up. Folks, this is Mac Voices Live. This is Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. It will be next week, too. We will do it then. And next week, of course, our obvious topic will be Apple's WWDC announcements. Until then, and as always, I'm Chuck Joyner. Thanks for watching. Visit MacVoices.com for show notes and to connect with Chuck on social media. Get involved in our Facebook group or like our Facebook page, and get more out of your Apple tech with MacVoices Magazine, free on Flipboard and on the web. And if you find value in it all, Consider supporting us through either our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/MacVoices or by making a one-time donation via the PayPal link on our front page and in the show notes of each episode. You will join these fine people who help bring you Mac Voices. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media at backbeatmedia.com. Bandwidth provided by CacheFly at cachefly.com.